Today is June 14. Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform continues its operation. My name is Svetlana Chiporenko. Now we will be talking about the situation in Dnipropetrovsk region. Joining us online is Mykola Lukashuk, head of Dnipropetrovsk Regional Council and deputy chair of Dnipropetrovsk Regional Defense Council. Good afternoon, Mr. Mykola. Good afternoon. Mr. Mykola, can you please tell us about the consequences of the enemy shelling within the last days, specifically about the situation in Kryvyi Rih? We know about the 12 casualties. What is the situation for the time being? Look, for the time being, the situation is as follows. We have 11 people staying in the hospital so far, including 9 in difficult condition. The rescue situation was over by yesterday evening. There was a massive missile strike on the city of Kryvyi Rih. The missile hit the area near the residential building. Should it land 10 meters aside, it would result in a bigger number of casualties, because there were 105 people residing in that building. Right after explosion, 3 people have perished. Then when the rescue operation was underway, there was a 4th casualty identified. The rest of the people, 7 people, were staying in the industrial facility where water was kept due to the deficit of water in the city. That business company procured water. The night shift was working, 7 people, and a missile exploded nearby. People ran to that storage facility looking for shelter, which was hit by another missile. They all unfortunately perished. State emergency service was working in a prompt manner. However, all those people perished due to the explosion of the missile, and another person aged 67 died this morning. 80% of their body was burned as a result of the explosion. Unfortunately, this person died too. The headquarters was deployed immediately. General Koretsky was guiding its operation. Mr. Kuleba, deputy head of the presidential office, joined its operation. We want to thank the international charity funds who supported the means to support the people. Yesterday evening, we received more than 20 applications for compensation of losses and damage. We expect the instrumental examination of the building to take 2 or 3 weeks to identify the scale of reimbursement for those people. If it will be identified that building is irreparable and people cannot live there anymore, we were considering on the level of the regional council to make subvention from the regional council so that people could buy new homes. So it will be disbursed as financial aid. On top of that, in the city, the utility services were reacting quite promptly. Now the windows are being reinstalled in the buildings that were nearby, because a large number of buildings had the windows and doors broken out, and the works are on the way in terms of repair. After the instrumental examination, we will identify the amount of financial aid that will be disbursed to the people. For those who perished, we understand that lives cannot be brought back, but every family will receive a disbursement in amount of 300,000 hryvnias. What is the situation in other populated areas in the region? Apart from the Nikopol region, in all of the communities, the situation is stable. The security situation is good given the circumstances. In terms of water supply, Nikopol district is affected mostly. We had a meeting with the heads of communities in Kryvyi Rih region as to the water supply. The situation in Kryvyi Rih district is more or less stable. There is a reserve of water in Kryvyi Rih for another month and a half. The pressure was decreased in the waterways. In other communities where water supply is unavailable, where water was supplied from Kakhovka water reservoir, the water is being delivered there. Upon the order of the president, 157 million hryvnias were allocated to the regional military administration to procure the water for the people in Nikopol and Kryvyi Rih districts. But in Nikopol district the situation is more difficult. Talking about the communities, 3 big communities in Nikopol district, I mean Nikopol, Marhanets and Pokrov, 20 to 30 points of distribution of water, of potable water, are deployed there. Also, the water is being delivered on a daily basis by railway, both technical and potable, so people have water. Well, you're saying that the situation remains difficult in certain areas. How much time will we need to stabilize the situation? Upon the order of the president, the Recovery and Reconstruction Agency was allocated about 1.5 billion to build 2 new waterways. One will be supplying the water to Nikopol district, and another will be supplying water to the industrial facilities and residents of Kryvyi Rih. From Kakhovka water reservoir, the water was supplied to Kryvyi Rih, and in fact it covered 70% of water consumption in the city of Kryvyi Rih and the Kryvyi Rih district. Talking about Kryvyi Rih, there is yet another water reservoir, Karachany, but for the time being it can only cover 30% of the needs of the city. In this regard, the regional military administration and central government work promptly to implement those infrastructure projects to build the new waterway and the new system of water supply, which will cover the needs of those 70%. But if we take it all together, Nikopol district is 280,000 people plus 40,000 internally displaced. In Kryvyi Rih district, there was a huge number of internally displaced persons coming there, about 80,000 people who were only those who were registered in Kryvyi Rih and Kryvyi Rih district. And given the big number of those who came after the terroristic act with the dam, big number of people came to Kryvyi Rih, and a lot of people also left in the direction of Mykola. So it will amount to maybe 850-900,000 of people. In fact, more than 100 million of people may end up without water after this terroristic act. Now this water is being supplied externally. People are being provided with water as it's being brought to the region by railway. Again, dear colleagues, do we have any questions on the floor? Olga Panasenko, Ukrinform. In Kryvyi Rih, the Russians targeted the storage facility with the water, and during today's shelling of Odessa, there was another report of the targeting of trade network. Do you think that it's an accident, or is it a planned tactics of the Russians to even deteriorate the situation after the detonation of Kakhovka HPP dam? Well, look, I look at it as a whole terroristic act, because we were studying the map for some object that could be related to the military or somehow associated with the military among those facilities that were targeted. In fact, there are only Metro supermarket, epicenter market. It's seen in Google Maps, Yandex Maps, that can be opened by the enemy and checked. And there is a children's sports swimming pool with a lot of sports sections. So in fact it's a business center of the city. By their side there is nothing that even somehow can be associated with the military. In the same way, the missile that targeted the 97th district. You know, there is a district 95, and which is the business district in Kryvyi Rih. And another is 97, which is directly 2 kilometers from the city council. So I don't think it's a kind of accident. Yesterday the president mentioned that the facility was targeted by X-101 missile. It's a very precise missile that enemy takes pride in. This is the terroristic act which is aimed at intimidation of the people, at exercising the psychological pressure. And what are the other goals of theirs? I think it's rather to be commented by the military. There were more missiles targeting the city of Dnipro, but again, thanks to our air defense forces, they didn't reach their targets. Mr. Mykola, thank you very much for the comprehensive answers. I'm reminding you, joining us was Mykola Lukashuk, the head of Dnipropetrovsk Regional Council, Deputy Chair of Dnipropetrovsk Regional Defense Council. We will see you tomorrow. Our team is working on the schedule for tomorrow. Follow our announcements, and glory to Ukraine.